Hello everyone, welcome to IT Industry Tutorials. So this is a JMeter tutorial part 2. So basically in this tutorial the basic things which we are going to cover is under a thread group we are going to cover about infinite loop, ramp up period and delay thread creation until needed. And in samplers today I'm going to let you know about the different type of HTTP request first, that is get, post, put and delete, and why we are using those and all the kind of stuff and different kind of samplers. And after that we will just check that how to use the post HTTP request under the sampler part to post some data on a website using a JMeter. And after that we will use different type of listeners and we'll use the assertions on that post request. So just let's get started, and before starting just subscribe the channel, share the video, share the channel and just like the video. Thank you so much everyone. So let's just start. We'll open a JMeter. Okay, so before going further, uh, in my earlier video, if you have watched the earlier video, so there I have mentioned that what is a thread group. Thread group is basically to run something, okay, with the help of which you can run different things. So in a test plan we will create a thread group, okay. So if you don't know, not familiar about this, please watch the earlier video. So in this video, in this thread group I'm going to cover the ramp up period of time, okay, delay thread creation until needed and loop count. So these three things is what I'm going to cover one by one. Okay, first I will start with loop count. So in my last video I mentioned that if I am writing loop count as 1, so it will run it for number of threads once. If I will write it 2, it will run twice for the number of threads and so on up to n. So suppose I am using a number of thread as 10 and here I am going to use loop as infinite. What will happen in this case? Now you can see that if I'll check on this, it it won't let me enter any number in this, okay. So if I will uncheck this, I can enter any number 25, 10, okay. But if I will uncheck this, in that case I won't able to enter or edit this number. So what will happen in this case? So in this case, what will happen if I am going to run a test case with this? So it will run till I will cancel that test. So let me just show you. I will just create a sampler HTTP request here. So and we are going to use a Salesforce website. Okay, so for that I'm going to use Postman website and we'll use Salesforce for the post request. Okay, so I am using a okay, so I am using this website. I am just going to get a request. Okay, so let me add a listener view result tree. Okay, so here in my thread group now, my number of threads are 10 and my loop count is infinite. So I am going to check that when I am going to run this test, then what will going to happen. So let's just check. Okay, for that first of all we'll need to save this JMeter HTTP request. Okay, so I have just started it. So now just check, it is running. Now what is the stop point? There is no stop point for this. Okay, so what will happen, it will continuously running until or unless we will click on this stop button. Okay, you can check, it will run, it will continue to run because the loop is infinite here. Okay, so this is the case which will happen when we are going to use infinite loop. check. Okay, so here it is using. So okay, so this will the case when we are checking in on infinite button. It is still running. Although the number of threads are only 10, but the loop is infinite, it means that it is recursively performing that step again and again for all the users. Okay, so when will it going to stop? When I'm going to click on the stop button. Okay, so after performing this kind of testing, this is basically a stress testing. So basically I am differentiating it from the normal performance testing. I am putting a lot of lot of stress on my system, on my website, that at some point there will going to be a break. Okay, so we are using this infinite button in this particular JMeter to perform a stress testing. So if we can see that it was working fine earlier, but at some point of time, okay, as we can see there are number of threads. Okay, so it was running fine earlier, but after some point time it start getting failed, as we can see it here. Okay, so this is basically we are going to we will face this kind of things. We can use the we can achieve the stress testing for some particular website using this. So we can use a number of threads as 100,000 or multiple, or even we can use it only as a one. But if we are using it in an infinite loop, it will continue to run till we'll stop that manually by hitting the stop button. Okay, okay, fine. So what is next for us in thread group? Okay, now moving to ramp up period time. So what is basically ramp up period time? So as you can see here, it tells JMeter how long to take to ramp up to full number of threads chosen. Okay, so suppose we have a 10 threads and we have a ramp up time of 100 seconds. So what will happen in that case? JMeter will take 100 seconds to get all 10 threads up and running. Okay, so and vice versa. So if we are going to use 1000 as a ramp up time, in that case these 10 users or these 10 threads will going to take 1000 seconds to perform all the steps. So let me just show you. Ramp up period is 100 and my number of thread is 10. So let me just clear it here first and we'll just run it. So what will happen? It will perform the first request and after that it will wait for certain period of time, and after that it will perform all the another request. After that it will hit the another thread. So what will happen? It will complete all these 10 threads in 100 seconds. So that is the basically thing which we'll do with the ramp up period. Okay, so this is basically with the help of ramp up period we can manage the time as per our convenience. So we can use it for 1000 users to perform some test cases in a multiple hours. Okay, so we can calculate it accordingly. Okay, now moving further, delay thread creation until needed. So basically if this option is checked, let me just close it here. Okay, so are you guys are okay with this, the HTTP request in and the ramp up period? So I will just close it. Okay guys, if you can see, it is still in running state. Okay, until I stopped it. So it will going to take all the 100 seconds to perform all the operation. But if I will show you a difference, if I'll use one here, in that case just see how fast it ran. Okay, as you can see the difference. So this is a clear difference when we are checking the ramp up period and we are unchecking the ramp up period, or we are mentioning it 100 or we are mentioning it as a 1. Okay, so what is happen if we are going to check this delay thread creation until needed, or we are uncheck this? So first of all I want to convey you that this thing we are using in a ramp up period. Okay, so let me just show you here. If this portion is checked, the ramp up delay and startup delay are performed before the thread is created. Okay, if you can check this clearly, that ramp up delay and startup delay perform before the thread data is created. So basically thread data we are creating in a post request or these kind of requests. So if we are checking this and we are using it as 100 and we are checking delay thread creation until needed here, so in that case they are performed before the thread data is created. Okay, so before the creation of the thread data we are using it, but if not checked, all the data required for the threads is created before starting the execution of the test. Okay, okay, so delay thread creation until it is when needed. If this option is checked, the ramp up delay and startup delay are performed before the thread data is created. So thread data creation will going to happen in a post request and these kind of request. But if it is not checked, then what will happen? Then all the data required for the threads is created before starting the execution of the test. In that case, it will not wait for that time. Okay. So now moving further in a samplers. So if you remember, last time we were done with the HTTP request get sampler. So there are number of samplers, but I am going to uh, concentrate on HTTP request samplers because these are the most common one, and these are the four operations which are we going to perform on a very common basis. Okay, on these HTTP request. So basically what will happen in a get, post, put and delete request. So basically these are for APIs. Okay, it means API. So here we are requesting something, if as we have mentioned in earlier as well, like we have some request here. Okay, as this is a request and we are getting a response for that. Okay, so this is for API testing as well. So here what we are doing, we are using get to fetch the data. Get, let me write it here, that these HTTP requests are using for what? Get to fetch the data. Okay, post to create new data or enter the data in this JMeter. Put to update some data, and delete to delete the data. Okay, so these are the four basic requests which we are performing in normal APIs and in normally JMeter as well. Okay, these are the four HTTP requests. So what will happen if we are going to perform a post request? So we just need to change it from here. We'll just use a post here. Okay, and after that we'll provide the path where we'll add that. So let me just show you. Okay, first of all, let me just add it here. Okay, I'm going to change a website here and I'm going to use login salesforce.com page. Okay, so this is a backend address, so that is what I'm going to use as a path here. Okay, so first of all, if we are going to check it with a get only, that this is fine or not. So this is my path. Why this is my path? Because as mentioned here, after a slash we are getting this address. So what will happen, let me just get it from here. Okay, if I am going to hit here, and it will it will perform the request and will add that local question mark local is equal to EU. Okay, by default, as we can see it here, because we have mentioned it here in our HTTP request. So same we can use it for post now. Let me just stop this one, clear this. Okay, so for post this, for the post we need parameters, we need to add something, because as I have mentioned here, that why we are using post HTTP request to create some new data, or in this case to enter some data. Okay, so let me just use this username and password thing to enter data. Okay, just inspect it. So we have a ID as a username. Okay, so we just need to enter here a username. Okay, and value, let me just enter IT industry tutorials as a value here. Okay, and if I wanna add the password as well. Okay, so let me just check if the password have ID as a, yeah, it is having a ID as, so here I'm going to write any test ID and 123. Okay, so I am just going to add this and we'll check what will happen if I am going to perform this post request on this website. Okay, so let me just use the ramp up period as 1, delay thread inactive unchecked, and just run this one. Okay, so it will perform this request. So now what it will going to do in HTTP request, as you can see that it is adding username as this and password as this. Okay, so now if we are checking in response, we are getting a response code as 200, means this is fine. Okay, and we are getting all the response data here, so it means that we are performing it fine. Okay, so this is very simple concept, guys. Let me just show you guys this as well. So in you can see it here in all the threads you are performing this. Okay, now just we are going to add some assertions here. Okay, for this request. So earlier also we have used response assertion to get a response code. Okay, so instead of getting a response code, now let me get a response message this time. Okay, okay, so we have a response message here, and what is our response message is okay. So if it means that if we are going to get a okay here, in that case it will work fine. Okay, it will pass our assertion. So let me just clear this and run this one. Okay, so yes, you can see it passed the request. So let me just use anything else apart from okay, like no we are going to use. So what will happen, we are getting it as a okay, we are getting our response message as okay, but here in an assertion we are using it as a no, and we are matching it. Okay, so in that case what will have to happen, it should fail this request. Let me just perform this. Okay, as you can see it will fail this request because of this assertion. Okay, 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 so I am going to change it to okay now. Okay, and now let's just add few more listeners and we'll check the difference. Okay, so we are using view result tree here, so let me use. Okay, so we can add multiple listeners in a one sample. Okay, so let me use summary report here. Okay, and also let me add view result in table. So now I'm going to use few more listeners for this request. So let me just check that we don't have any data in anything. Okay, or in any listener. So let me just run this, and okay, so in this view result tree we are getting it in a tree thing. Okay, so we can check, we can change it from here. Okay, experts tester, we can use it for text, we can use it as a JSON part tester. Okay, so we can use it a different ways. So in trees, so we are getting it like this. Okay, so we are getting a start time, thread name. Okay, so this is a thread name, label. Okay, sample time, status, byte, send byte. Okay, different things. In a summary report, we are getting it in a form of report. So we have we have a sample of 10. The average is 1465 millisec ms. Minimum 1417, maximum 1513. So this is the average time. So like this, we can use multiple listeners as per our requirement in our project. Okay. Okay, so that's it for from my side for this video, guys. So again, please like the video, subscribe the channel, and just stay tuned because I am going to cover a lot of things. There are a lot of things to cover for this JMeter, and I am going to cover in my further videos again. So just stay tuned, guys. Stay happy, stay safe. Thank you.